Hey everybody, this is Jim, the Tabletop Engineer, and welcome to my very first battle in the 5 Leagues from the Borderlands game. I have a 2-foot by 2-foot mat set up here with some goblin terrain that I've created. And on this side, over here behind the building, I've got my warband, 6 members in all. Over here, I have 10 goblins. 4 of them have slings, and I've put them in these white rings here to indicate that. I have a lieutenant who's in the red ring, and the rest of these 4 guys have just, I believe, standard weapons, which is +0/+0. What else? Now, being that this is my first time doing this is probably going to go a little slow, and that's because I'll be referencing the quick reference sheet, probably having to go into my iPad to actually reference certain page rules to see how things go, and just, making sure I'm doing everything correct. Will I do everything correct? Absolutely not. I typically do not worry when I make mistakes. I just keep playing. It's like, it's a game, right? I mean, I'm not going to go back and replay a battle just because I missed something. Now, if it was substantial, then I might give myself a self-enforced penalty. But again, the name of the game here is to have fun, and I'm just not gonna worry about it. So I hope you enjoy this. Typically, what I'm going to do when I play this game is I'm going to try and play it as live as I can so that you can see the results, whether they could go good or bad, I don't know. And we will get through this first video, and hopefully I will have learned some things, maybe memorized some rules, and then future battles will go a little faster. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take a pause. I'm going to verify I've got everything in place, make a few notes for myself, and then we will get started. Okay, ready to begin. There's a couple last-minute things I have to roll up. This is a meeting engagement, so it's a pretty standard scenario. I rolled up in a previous video that I am going to be doing the fetch something. That requires me to roll randomly for one of these 4 structures, which I'll do that shortly. But let me go ahead and explain. I've broken up the goblins into 3 groups as the scenario specified. And in this for this objective, what I'm supposed to do is get to the object before the end of round 6. So I'm using a die right here set to 1. When round 6 ends, if I have not acquired the object, which basically means getting in base contact with it and then using an interact action instead of a combat action to pick it up or whatever. And then I've got to get it off the board. And the rules say I can go off of any edge. So that is the main objective. Obviously, to hold the field, I would need to either kill or make them run away, the goblins here. So before we get started, let's go ahead and roll. What I'm going to do is I'm going to number the buildings 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to roll a d6. I'll re-roll 5s and 6s to figure out where the object is. So it's on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that looked out for me since I'm starting on this side. What I'll do is I'll put it the furthest away. I'll put it right here. So it's actually closer to the middle. But I need to get to this and get it off the board before in order to win this scenario. So just a couple last minute things. I can use story points. I have 4 of them. You can use them to re-roll any die once again. You can, if you're struck in combat, you can burn a die or burn a story point to avoid it, basically avoid any damage. So these are things to keep in mind because I've been watching some playthrough videos of not just this game, but also 5 Parsecs, and a lot of people complain's probably too strong the word. A lot of people voice their opinion that the game is very difficult, and combat is difficult. The rules tell you that this is a very violent game. I mean, you are going to lose warband members, so just accept that. And I've sort of accepted it myself, but I'm trying to find all the ways I can get out of it. My mystic, for example, Griffith, who is the yellow right here, Griffith has a luck and 2 will points, and I can use those for various things. So just keep in mind, you do have ways to help yourself. So let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do in this first round, I am not doing seize the initiative here because if I remember right, one of the rolls that I made in the previous videos said that I would not be able to do Seize the Initiative in this particular game. So that's out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll 1 die for each of my Warband members. These are 6 die. 6 dice. Dice. I call them dice. Don't get on me. I call a single one die, but I sometimes call it dice. So just so you know. Every one of your Warband members has an agility number. 1, 2, you might have a 3 in there. Probably not likely at the start. And basically, you're going to roll these dice, and you're going to assign 1s and 2s to your various Warband members. And this is to determine when they go, when they move, when they fight. There are 3 phases in this game. There is the fast phase or quick phase, there is the enemy phase, and then there is the slow phase. Any character that rolls a 1 or 2 where the die is assigned to that character. So, for example, Jard has an agility of 2. So if I roll a 2 or a 1 on one of these dice, I could assign it to Jard. But Griffith, for example, has an agility of 1. So he can only be given a die that has 1. The agility has to be equal to or lower than the die roll, and you only are looking for 1s and 2s. So let's go ahead and do it. And I rolled a single 2. So unfortunately, I can only give that to either Jard, who is my Warhammer and armored guy, or I can give it to Rilvan in red, who is a standard weapon and some armor. I'm going to give it to, I'll give it to my Warhammer guy, who's right here. So now that I've done that, number 2, or the one who is assigned the die, which is Jard, he's the one with my Warhammer, he can go first, he can go in the quick phase. So he has a speed of 4 and a dash of 3. So what I'm going to do is he's next to this 3-inch wall here. I'm going to go ahead and have him climb it and get in, and he won't fit in there. See if I can get him to fit in there. There we go. He's down in there. So he's taking a high ground. I have thought about this mission or this scenario for a while. The goblins are fast. With dash, they can move 10 inches, so they can get across here in 2 turns. I need to hold the high ground, or at least make them come up to me. I hope that's going to help me thin their numbers down. The Sling Goblins are in the white base. They have a range of 10 inches, was it? Yeah, 10 inches. So if they move 10, and they also have what's called the skirmisher trait, which means they can do their full move and then still use a ranged weapon. Whereas most creatures and most warbands, if they're using a ranged weapon, they can only move 1 inch and then they must fire, because it's sort of like prepping your weapon. But they don't have that. They don't have that penalty. So this is going to be very interesting. Okay, so I've got him up on the walkway here between these 2 towers. By the way, the towers have ladders. All the towers have ladders that go down in and then come out on these walkways. So they won't fit through these little things, but I'm going to assume that if I get up here, I can move freely down 1 inch and then out the front door or the side doors to the walkway. Okay, now it is the goblins' turn. It is the enemy phase. And what I'm going to do here is, they don't know where I am. I don't know where they are. So for initially, what I'm going to do is have a random die roll for the direction of each group. So we'll start with this one up here, and they're going to move this way. But what I do is when they encounter any obstacle, they'll either go clockwise or counterclockwise, sort of like there's a wall here, depending on the direction they want to go. So they're all kind of wanting to go this way. So they're going to move 2 inches. They can move 10. So he'll move 1 and then 9, which puts him right here. And I'm just going to make these other 2 sort of like near him, because they all have the same movement. And I'm not going to measure that out until it becomes sort of necessary to do so, because it kind of slows things down. Let's see where these guys are going to go. They're going to go this way. I don't know if can you even see that die? Let me move it out here. It was pointing that direction. So I'm going to move 1 sling guy. He can go, let's see, he can go, 7 and 3. So he can go 7 and he can go 3. Now he, at this point, can see this guy, but he's in the open. So he's going to want to naturally move to cover since he's arranged. So he's just going to move here. Going to move right here into cover, and I'm going to put these other guys sort of around him. And the one in red, by the way, is the lieutenant. Or, yeah, was it the captain or the lieutenant? The lieutenant. He's got a +1 combat and +1 to his toughness. And then finally, this 3 down here, let's see which direction they go. They're going to go this way as well, not around this way. So let's go ahead and move him. Well, if I move him the full 10, that puts him out in the open, and he's not going to do that. So he'll stay right here behind here, and so will they. And that's sort of how it works for the creature phase. None of them are close enough to fire a weapon. None of them see my warband members. So I move them as a group rather than individually. All right, now, normally at the end of, it's the slow phase, so it will be all of my characters, with the exception of this one, will now move. All of my characters, by the way, are speed 4 and then a +3 dash, except for Clack, who is my green guy here. He can move +4 during dash. He's fast. So what I want to do is I want to get my crossbow guy, who is Clack, and I want to get my bow guy, which is Lyrak, who is orange. I want to get them up high. I want to get them high. So Lyrak is going to move. This tower is 4 inches, so he would climb 4 and then move 3, but I'm not going to have him move the whole way. I'm just going to have him move sort of right here. Yeah, so that they're not visible, but anyone coming around here might be. He has moved. By the way, the move rules state that for moving vertically, it's 1-to-1. A lot of games do 2-to-1. So like to move 4 inches, you would need a speed of 8, for example. But in this game, it says it's a 1-to-1. So his move of 4 got him up to the wall and then 3 over. Now let's do Lyrak, who is, not Lyrak, we'll do Clack, who is green. And I use names for mine because if they survive over time, it just becomes, in my memory, I'll remember that Clack is, for example, the guy with my crossbow and stuff like that. So if you hear me using names, I just do that because I try to use the names when I'm playing the game. It helps me remember things. So Clack also has a 4-4. Clack will get high. He'll go 4, and then he's going to move here. He can see this group now, but unfortunately he has done his full movement, so he cannot fire this round. And then the final 3 guys, I need to get to this. So they're going to dash. Silver is Dardor. He can move 7 inches in all, so he'll go 6 and then 1 inch. And in the video, you can't see, but they're moving behind the wall of this tower to come to here. They're sneaking around. The red one is Rilvan. He can move 7, so he'll go to there. And yellow is Griffith, which is also 4 + 3, and he can move 7, so he'll go to right here. That is the end of the slow phase. This next phase, I believe, is called the tracking phase. I have to double check that, but basically during this phase, you check morale. If I had killed a goblin, for every enemy that you kill in a turn, you roll a d6. And on a 1 or 2, one of them will flee. And it's usually the one that's furthest away from your warband. So if I had killed 2 goblins this turn, I would roll 2 dice. I rolled a 1 and a 5. This 1 would mean that another goblin flees. The lieutenant does not flee unless it's less than, I believe, half the size of the warband. So I've got 10. So when it gets down to, when he's like number 5 or 4, I'd have to double check the rules, but when it's down to half, if he's the furthest from the warband, then he would flee as well. All right, so that's the end of that. I had no spells cast, so nothing to track there. It is now initiative time, so I'm going to roll 6 dice again because none of my warband members were taken out as casualties. I need some 1s and 2s here. Come on. I rolled a whole bunch of 6s and a 1 and a 2. So I got a 1 and a 2. I'm going to assign the 1 to my crossbow guy here, so maybe he can get a shot off. And I'm also going to, which one has a 2? He has a 1, so he can only get the 1. And orange is an agility of 1, so I cannot assign him to the 2. The only 2 I can give are Rilvan, who is red, and Jard, which is blue. And Jard is in here, So I'm going to go ahead and give it to Riven so he can go ahead and maybe sprint for that that item. Okay, it is now time to see what happens with these dice that move in the quick phase. If I look, he can see that one goblin. There's nothing obstructing. If I get down here and I look, yeah, he can see. So he's within range, I believe. Hold on, the crossbow has a range of 24. Yes, he's within range because the width here is 24. So automatically, yeah. He will take a shot. So he's within range, but he's in the open. He's not concealed behind cover. So all I need to do is roll a 5 or higher on a d6. And by the way, his combat is +1. All right, so I get to add 1 to this die roll. So really what I need to do is roll a 4 or higher. I rolled a 1, which is a miss. Now, normally, let me go ahead and state this. The rules state that if you have a ranged weapon that has what's called limited ammunition, some of the weapons are labeled limited ammunition, that if you roll a 1, it means they are out of ammunition. They've used it all up, except for the first time you fire the weapon, which is what I just did. So he's not out of ammunition. But let's say this was his second shot and I rolled the 1. He would be out of ammunition. This is one of those times where if you're going to record videos and play a game for others, you want to state your house rules. And after I read that rule, this is one of those ones that really kind of didn't fit with me. There is no way that he would come to the battlefield with a crossbow with 1 arrow or 2 arrows or 3 arrows. He would come with a full complement. So what I am doing in my games, I have a house rule where they have 12 shots. All right, 12. You do not have to play that way. If you want to play by the rule book, where a 1 after your first shot, any future roll, any future shots of a ranged weapon, roll the 1, you're out of ammo, feel free to go ahead. But that one just doesn't feel right to me. I just can't see how my guys would bring, a minimum of 2 arrows to a battle. Who knows? So now that that's explained, I missed the shot. Orange is my bow, and he can see this guy who's in cover, and if he moves 1 inch, which he can do, he can fire at that one. Actually, he could fire at any of them. He's going to fire at the sling guy. Why not? He's going to fire at this guy in white, and again, it's within range, and there's no cover. So it's a 5+, and orange, he has +0 to combat. So I just got to roll a 5 or higher. I rolled a 2, which is a miss. So both of my guys moved, and then finally I want to move red, who is Rilvan. He can move 7. So he's going to go, this wall is 2 inches. Yes, 2 inches to climb. So if he moves 4, he moves 4. He would be able to move up to here, and that's about as far as he could go. He could move 1 more inch, but I'm just going to, it's sort of curved back here, so I'm just going to round it off and say he's there. All right, so he's almost to the item that I need to fetch. That is the end of the fast phase. Now, they obviously have seen, so there's no use in rolling the random die. These guys were probably, these folks right here saw over here, so they know where I am. And they yelled over to this group to stop, stay in cover. Even though they didn't run out, they are now aware that everybody's this way. So they're all going to sort of be coming this way. So rather than roll randomly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here. And now we're keep in mind, the sling guy needs to get within 10 inches, which would put him right about here. He can certainly do that. And he would do that if he could take a shot. So he will move here and take a shot. These 2 guys are going to move into cover. They would move here, which is 3, and I think they could probably, they could definitely get to cover right here. And they're down here, so he can't see them. But the sling guy can certainly see him. Now, he's in cover, and the sling is a range of 10. It's -1 to armor, and Lyrak does have... No, he has no armor, so that's not good. So to roll for this, he's within range, and he's in cover, so he needs a 6 or higher, a 6 or higher to hit. His combat is +0, so he needs a natural 6 to hit, and I rolled a 2, so he did not hit. Let's go to this next group. There is no way that this, well, yes, he would. The sling guy, if he moves here, he will not be in cover, but he would be able to take a shot, which is what he wants to do. So the sling guy would move here, and is that within 10? Yep. He'll move the bare minimum to get in there, and then he would take a shot. If he goes any closer, he probably wouldn't have the angle, although he would be able to see. No, it's out of range. These are all out of 10 range. The closest one is right here, and then this guy would also probably do the exact same thing. He would move up here and take a shot. This little fella, he cannot make cover with 10 inches, so what he would do is probably get closer underneath here for cover, and the lieutenant is not going to put himself at risk. He's going to stay in issue order. So he'll tell these two to run out and fire. So let's do this one to here. Is again, needs a natural 6. I rolled a 5, which misses. This one will roll, and I rolled a 6. So he does manage to hit. Orange has no armor, so we skip the armor phase. What you do on this is you roll against the toughness. The toughness is 3. So I roll a d6. On a 4, 5, or 6, he's eliminated. He's a casualty of the game. On a 2 or 1, I'll have to look it up. A 2 or 1, I think he's stunned and wounded. If the total is higher than the target, they become a casualty. If it's equal to or below toughness, they are wounded and stunned. And if it's a natural 1, the target is just stunned. I rolled a 2. So he is stunned and wounded, which is not good. Wounded means if he gets wounded one more time, he's a casualty. If you get 2 wounds, you're a casualty. The stunned gives a benefit in melee combat, I believe. If someone enters into melee combat with him, they get a +1 combat bonus. So that's definitely not what I was hoping for, but we will keep going. Let's see. That was the 2 sling guys, so they fired. And then these guys over here, this guy obviously will be commanded to get within 10, and he'll also want to fire because if he hits him and wounds him, he's out. And these 2 goblins are kind of nervous. They cannot run their full amount and get into cover, so maybe the lieutenant will tell them to scoot over here with him to guard him. He's cowardly, so he wants them surrounding him because even if I can see the lieutenant, I can't shoot at him if there's intervening enemies. I have to go through them, so he's gonna be cowardly right now. All right, this guy is gonna fire. And he hits on a natural 6, and I rolled a 1, so he missed. That is it for the creature phase. Now it is the slow phase. This guy has already gone, so I'm going to move this over to a 6, and I'll move this die to a 6 since they moved during the fast phase. There we go. I'm gonna try to find me some other markers to indicate when, who is shot and who is fired. But right now I'm just sort of making a list mentally of what I need to track this game. All right, so all that leaves me is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Am I missing somebody? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He did not. Did he fire? Did I say he fired? I think I did accidentally. I'm losing track of what I'm doing. He moved in the slow phase and shot and missed. That's right. So now he will take, you know what? He's wounded. He's going to take a step back. And he is in cover. He's in solid cover just because of the angle he's at. You know what I may do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have him climb down. So he'll go down 1 inch, and then he's going to come into here and do partial cover. But he can't fire because he moved more than 1 inch. So he's moved. He's just not on the not in the battlement anymore. And the stunned, which is the silver for stunned, red for wounded, the stunned goes away. So that's the end. So he's no longer stunned. He's going to stay put, although I want him to move into cover. He's going to act like he's going in the doorway here. What I want them to do is I want them to come up. I want them to get on the tower and attack me because they've got a bottleneck. They're not going to be able to all hit me at once. Let's see, who else? These two guys. Silver is Dardor. He can move 7. So he's going to run to right here. He's hiding behind this. He's got full cover. And Griffith cannot see him. You know what? Griffith's going to climb up. And can he see? He can see orange. He can see Lyrak, who is wounded. Why is that? Because he has a heal spell. Heal is a 6+. I roll 2d6. I have to roll a 6 or higher, but he has a +1 casting. So I've got to roll a 5 or higher for the total. And I rolled a 7. So he successfully casts Heal, which removes a wounded condition. So he is no longer wounded, which is excellent. All right, and by the way, my wizard has 3 strands. You get 3 strands at the start of each game to cast spells. Depending on what you roll, it will tell you whether or not you burn a strand. I do know that for a 7, it would cost me a strand. If you roll a 12, you cast it, but you don't burn through a strand, which is kind of cool. But if you roll like a 1 or maybe even lower than a 3 or something, there's a rule that says that you not only burn the strand, but the spell fails. So he did good. He's got two let me make a note of that, strands. He's got 3, but he just used 1. So, okay, that is all I can do for the slow phase. Now, I did not eliminate any goblins during this round, so there is no morale roll. And the stunned went away, and I think that's it. So all my characters are still alive, so let's go ahead and roll the initiative again. And roll 6 dice. I need some 1s and 2s. I've been rolling really bad here. I got no 1s and no 2s, so they will all be moving in the slow phase. Wow, this is really not good. Okay. Let's see. The slings all see my guys, so they all have to move closer. Right now, they can see over here. So they'll move the minimum to fire. So red is Rilvan. This one will move 1 inch and fire at Rilvan because that's the closest he can do. He needs a natural 6. Natural 6 because he's in cover. And I rolled a 4, so he missed. This one, to him, the closest, if he moved here, he's closer to this guy. Blue is Jard. Jard is in cover, and so he needs a natural 6. I rolled a 3, so he missed. This guy, now if this guy moves his full 10, he would not be able to take a shot. But if he moves 7, which would put him here, that does put him in range of this guy. So, yeah, he would do that. He'll move here, and he'll take a shot at Jard, who's tucked away in here. Needs a natural 6. I rolled a 2, so he missed. And then this last one, well, he would do the same thing. He'll move just close enough to fire at him. He needs a natural 6. I rolled a 1, so he missed. So all those sling guys have fired. These goblins now, for 10 inches, can they get in? Yeah, they can get over here. So, well, not all of them. Let's see. Only the front 2 can move in. So these 2 will move here into cover. He's going to move closer to make a run for it. And these 2 will climb. So they go up 2, or is that? Yeah, up 2. Sorry. They go up 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they can, I'm going to put them up here so you'll see, but they're on a lower landing down here where they could attack Orange, who is Lyrak. But they use their full movement, so with the dash, so they can't fire. I think I've been playing this wrong. I've been doing their full move of 10 and then firing. They can really only move 7 and then take a shot. The range is 10. So I can't remember. I'll have to look back at the video and see if I made that mistake, but I'll try to remember to correct that in the future. All right, so they are now single file rushing towards my orange guy down in here who you can't see. He's right here. So they'll attack one at a time on the next turn, and I'll get to do a melee. So these two, and so that's all I can do. Now what I'm going to do is, no enemies got killed, so I just roll for slow, or it's not roll, slow phase. It's my turn. So Lyrak is facing one goblin. I will choose, I'm the attacker in the melee. The melee is going to be three back and forth. Let me see who this is. The way it works is I have to choose a fight style. I can choose to fight defensively, which means I roll 2 dice for and I pick the better one. I roll defensively, or fight evasively, which means if I inflict no hits, I can move up to 2 inches away. It also says it negates counterattack, and they don't have counterattack. Or I can fight furiously. If I win, I get +1 to either overcome their armor or overcome their toughness. They have no armor, so I would use it on their or overcome their toughness. So I'm going to be the attacker. They're going to be the defender. And I'm going to roll a green die for them, red for me. And I need to roll, let's see, orange is +0 for combat. You know what? I'm going to change something up real quick. I'm going to move him. Blue is going to run to assist. All right. And why am I doing that? Because if I put one ally within 1 inch of an enemy, they get, or of another ally, they get +1 to their combat. So I get +1 to this roll. Now he's out in the open, which is probably not going to be good. But if he kills one of the goblins, well, I don't think I'll be able to move through, but I can at least give him the +1. So I'm going to take it. +1 to their +0. I rolled a 3, +1 is 4. They rolled a 3, so I win. I don't have to go through their armor, but I do have to go through their toughness. Their toughness is 3, which means I need to roll a 4, 5, or 6. But I was fighting furiously. I did the fight furiously, which means I get +1 on overcome toughness. So technically, I've got to roll a 3, 4, 5, or 6. I rolled a 4, which means he is defeated. There is another goblin that is 1 inch back facing me. So during the creature phase, he will rush forward and he will become the attacker. Let's see. He moved. He fought. Red is going to move forward and acquire. He'll use his action to acquire the item. So he has it. So I've picked it up, and I'll just sort of hang it right here. I've picked it up, and that's all he can do. He cannot do he cannot move anymore. So he's sort of out in the open. What I need to do is get rid of these sling guys. So I'm going to have next. I'm going to have Griffith fire Distract. I need a 7+, but I get +1 casting. So I need to roll a 6 or higher. Distract will allow me to take one of my ranged opponents, and they cannot fire on their next activation. And I rolled a 5, +1 is 6, and I needed a 7 to do it. So I failed it, and I believe that does burn a strand. That was not good. Green is Clack. He has the crossbow. He has an ally within 1 inch. Oh, no, that's, is that melee only? I think it's melee that they get the +1. I think it is, yeah. So he doesn't, he's just +0 for his, no, he's +1 for crossbow. Excellent. So he's going to shoot at, he could actually hit the lieutenant, who is now exposed. Well, he's in cover, but I'd rather fire at someone who's not in cover. In range and not in cover. So he will shoot at this one right here. And I need a I need a 5+, but I get a +1, so 4 or higher. I rolled a 2, which misses. Come on. All right, so I missed. And then finally, I need to draw fire away from him. So I'm going to move Silver, who is Dardor. He's a follower. I can sort of afford to lose him. He's not as expensive as a hero. I'm going to move him into the open. Actually, I'm going to move him right here. So he's in cover, but he's closer to these turkeys. So hopefully he will draw their fire and allow him to get out. That is it for the slow phase. I killed a goblin, so I get to roll a morale die. On a 1 or 2, 1 will flee. I rolled a 6, so none flee. So it's now time to roll initiative again. I really need a bunch of 1s and 2s. Come on. Well, there we go. I got 2 1s and a single 2. I need to get that thing out of here. So red is a 2. I can give him the 2. And I hate to say this, but I really want to hold the field. I want to defeat them all, but I don't want to. We'll see. Let me see what happens. Because I'm already going to be down 1 member. When he leaves, I'm down to 5 Warband members. Although I have defeated 1. Well, we'll see. Let's just play it by ear. All right, so he's going to get the 2. I'm going to give Green, who is my crossbow guy, a 1 to fire again. And I'm going to give the 1 to Orange, which is Lirak, because he's facing off against this goblin down here in the tower. I didn't make these removable like the tops. I wish I had. But that would have been a lot more trouble to make this, revealable. All right, so let's go ahead and play this. He's got the item. So he's going to climb down. We'll just call it 4. And then he will dash. And so he gets off with the item. He's going off this edge. So I managed to get the item that I needed. Oh, you know what? I wasn't tracking the number. I had to do this within 6 rounds, but he got that within, I think, round 3, so I didn't have to worry about that. So let me put this where you can see it. So just so you know, I'll put it right here. I got the item. And one of my members is off and alive. When they die or get a casualty, I lay them down sideways to remember that I took a casualty. All right, so he's gone. Let's have him fire at this guy again. He's Green is +1 to combat, so I need normally I would need a 5, but now I need a 4 or higher. I rolled a 3. Actually, hold on. 3 + 1 is 4, but I only hit on a 5, so never mind. He misses. You are not a very good crossbowman. And then Lirak will rush this guy. He's going to be the attacker. I will fight furiously. He gets +1 to +0 for the goblin. I rolled a 4 to its 3. So once again, I hit him. I go through the armor. So his toughness is 3. So I would normally need to roll a 4, 5, or 6, but I get +1 for the fight furiously. So I need to roll a 3, 4, 5, or 6 to kill him. And I rolled a 4, so he is also gone. Let me put this guy over here because he no longer affects morale. Just this one guy right here, I will roll for morale at the end of this turn. That is the fast, quick phase. Now it is, and he's in cover, so he can't be hit. He's in cover, but he is not. He took a shot, so he can definitely be seen. This guy is out in the open. Darn it. All right, so I'm going to have 4 sling guys. This guy, he can kind of see him. So I will just play it. I'm going to be doing this 6 times. So we'll start left to right. So they need a 6 or higher to hit because he's in cover, but within range. And they're all within 10, I believe. Let me double check that. Yeah, they're all within range. So left to right, I'm going to roll this 4 times. Miss, hit. Let's resolve the hit. So he hit him with a sling. Silver has light armor. Light armor, which is light armor is rating 1. So if I roll a 1 on this D6, it doesn't go through the. Oh, hold on. The sling is -1 to armor. So that's for the roll. So I roll this, and if I roll a 2 or a 1, it does not go through the armor. I rolled a 5, so it does go through the armor. So he's automatically stunned, but let's see if he's taken out. Now we do the toughness. His toughness, silver, is also 3. So on a 4, 5, or 6, he will be a casualty. I rolled a 2. He's not a casualty, but now he is stunned and wounded. Not good. Stunned and wounded. Okay, so all 4... Oh, no. I still got 2 more goblins to fire. Third goblin will fire at him. Misses. And the fourth one misses. All right. These 2 goblins will run 2, 4, 6. They're in here. 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so they're once again lining up. Man. Lining up. And this one will sprint. He's going to sprint over here per the captain, lieutenant. The lieutenant, who is now wide open, is not going to leave himself available. And he won't flee because I'm not under 10 enemies. So he can't get to here. But what he can do is move behind here for cover, and he can still yell out orders. So he's still lurking back there, hiding, but he can't do much. That is it for the goblin phase. They moved their full amount, dashing, but so they can't do any combat. So now it is slow phase. Slow phase is everyone else. I don't want to lose a follower, so he's going to book behind this building and lurk. He'll leave when he thinks when Griffith gives the word. So right now, obviously you get adventure points or experience for killing enemies. So I want to try and kill some more enemies, but this is getting really tiresome. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have Griffith use his last strand to cast. He can cast it on that one. He'll cast Distract. He needs a 7+, but really he needs a 6 because he's got the +1 casting. I rolled a 7, +1 is 8. So he used his last strand, but this guy has already basically fired. He cannot fire. So he can't do anything else. He took his action. Let's go ahead and do... This guy is going... He can't really leave because then he'll lose that +1 bonus. So Lyrak in there is going to fight. He'll fight aggressively. He gets +1 to +0. I rolled a 2 to its 3, so it hit me. That's a hit. Let's see. Armor is no armor. So if he rolls a 4, 5, or 6, he beats my toughness. Rolled a 4. So I have a casualty. Lyrak is out. Because Lyrak is out, dang it. Because he's out, casualty, this guy is booking. So he will climb down. He will climb down the, what did I say, 2? Yeah. We'll make it 3, and then he is off the map. He is booking it. Griffith's basically saying, we got what we came for, boys. Let's get out of here. I so want to take a shot, but at this point, if he hits on the I could hit him, but he's going to get at least 2. If he hits, he'll have at least 2 slings flinging at him. Otherwise, he'll have 3, and I'm not taking that risk of another natural 6. So he is going to climb down 5, 6, 7. He's right on the edge here, but out of view. That leaves only him, but he is in cover, so he's going to be okay because these 2, well, that's the slow phase. So let's go ahead and roll the morale. So one's out. I need a 1 or 2. I rolled a 2. So the closest enemy, the farthest enemy from my from the warband, but not the lieutenant, would be this guy right here. He will move his full 10. And he is going to leave the field. So he's gone. 10 is off, right on the edge, so he's off. Well, I at least got one taken out of the picture. Well, I got three. Three of these guys are out of here. 2 were casualties and 1 ran away. Wow, that leaves me with 3 guys to 5 enemies. Do I want to keep fighting these guys? Those slings are not good news. All right, all I need to do is roll some 1s and 2s to get everybody off. I rolled 2 2s, which means I can give 1 to Jard, who is blue, who is already gone. And the other one can go to Rilvan, who is red, who is already gone. So I get no movements in the fast phase. So here's what's going to happen. These guys are going to go, they can go 10. So that is, how far is that? I think that's 6. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They would be able to get in the tower, but not up to here. They're still below, so I'm going to put them sort of angled here. They're down below. Griffith hears them, and he's like, gotta get out of here. These guys can move 7, but they're not going to be able to see. I positioned my 2 guys back here at an angle so that you'd have to get in here to see them, so that's pretty good. So if he moves 7, he can't see them, so they would move an additional 3, and they'd go, there they are. And but they can't fire because they did their maximum move. He's going to come running out because there's nothing keeping him from hiding anymore. Let's see, what can I do now? Now it's slow phase. These 2 guys would move off, so they're safe. He can go down. The height of this was 4 or 5. I can't remember. It was 5. 5. And then he can move. He can do 7, so he's off. That did not go as planned. I was hoping for a total wipeout of these silly goblins, but you know what? Didn't happen. I got 2 goblins. I killed 2 goblins and chased 1 away, but they, man, that movement of theirs, being able to get 10 inches of movement to my 7. And they can move 10, or they can move 7 and still fire. Not 10. I was doing that wrong, but they can move their full 7 and still fire unless they use their dash. And I think a couple times I had them fire after they'd moved 10, so I did that wrong. But wow. Wow. Oh, this guy would have, climbed up, gone in here, and been right about here at the end of the turn. Okay, well that went sort of good for me, but not really. I mean, I survived it. I satisfied my objective by getting the item, but I didn't hold the field. I really, really like to hold the field. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up this video, and then in the next video, I'm going to do the post-battle rolls, which is where you do injuries and loot and things like that, because I do have a casualty that I'm going to have to see what happens there. Roll for loot, roll for special occurrences and things like that. It's really fun. You're going to want to check it out. I will be rolling those up just as soon as I finish this video, and hopefully that will be up within the same day or next day of you watching this video. I hope you've had fun watching this. I am really, really pleased with how this went. If I did any of the rules incorrectly, please do post it in the comments. Be nice, but just point it out to me. Page numbers help if you can reference page numbers if I did something wrong. I always try to play every game, by the rules, but there are so many rules in this game that it's hard to keep track of them all, especially when you're playing solo. When you're playing with friends, usually somebody will remember a rule and catch you on it. But when you're playing solo, you just always forget 1 or 2. So be kind, but let me know where I made any mistakes if I did, and I am sure I did. All right, this is Jim, the Tabletop Engineer. Thanks for joining me in this first battle report for 5 Leagues from the Borderlands 3rd edition. I'll be back with the next video very soon with all the post-game rolls. Until then, everybody, take care.